What's up, everybody? It's Charles. We are here at the AAPEX show in the CRP booth with Alex from CRP talking about valve covers, more specifically plastic valve covers. Now, Alex, this is off of a BMW N52 engine.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about this valve cover system.
So originally when they had the valve covers, they were all made out of metal. They were a little bit heavier. They didn't really have fail because there was no real problems with them. They just sealed the top of the engine and they did what they needed to do. Since they introduced the higher CAFE standards, they're trying to take a lot of the weight out of the car. So to do that, they decided to make these now out of plastic. This has some of the unintended consequences of they now warp, they get brittle, and they start cracking, and they start leaking out fluid. BMW went another step further and they started integrating the crankcase pressure valve into it as well. That also now has failure as well, and you can't replace it separately, so you're going to need to replace the entire valve cover.
So they've integrated all this stuff into this one component, which opens up a lot of opportunity for failures that results all in replacing one big component. Talk a little bit more in depth, Alex, if you could, about how they actually do fail.
So they can fail in several different ways. The main way they fail is they start warping after all the heat cycles. The plastic doesn't really hold up as much as the metal ones originally did, and then they start leaking out oil. There's also obviously the valve cover gasket that can start having a leak as well into it. And probably another one that also happens is the indicator breather valve. That fails, and when that fails, you need to replace the entire unit again. Otherwise, there's some issues with components that are underneath the valve cover that you need to take the entire valve cover off to do. On some of the BMWs, like maybe the eccentric shaft sensor, for example, they need to replace a valve cover anyway. After 80,000 miles, it's not good to put the old one back onto the engine.
Alex, we talked about common failures on this, and how do we know that we're not going to be putting on a part that's just going to fail right away again?
We've done a lot of laboratory testing on this one. We've tested both the mechanical and to the chemical properties on valve covers, on the plastics. We use a very high quality plastic to prevent any kind of premature failures from happening with it. And we also try to kit it with some of the needed components on it that may fail ancillary to it. For instance, we provided with the breather hose onto it, and we also provided with the oil cap oftentimes. And that's just to make sure it's easier for the technician to do the install. And you know, when you take these out from the valve cover, they tend to break and crack. It's not good to reuse them as well.
Yeah, these little squeeze clamps can very easily break. There's also seals on this hose that
Right.
You'd hate to, have a customer spend a bunch of money on a new valve cover and still have a leak because maybe one of the seals is bad on the breather hose. All right, Alex, thank you so much for talking to us a little bit about valve covers. If you guys want to see more, check out the Inside the Brand series, where folks like Alex go way deeper into stuff just like this.